Well, hello, my paranormal peeps, and welcome back to another Deep Woods Paranormal podcast. We are making the paranormal normal on this podcast. So today I'm actually going to give you 10 famous urban legends that are great for Halloween, because this is Halloween week, and actually I'm going to give you an 11th one just because. All right, so let's talk about these urban legends. First one would be Mothman. We've kind of talked about it before. El Chupacabra, the Goatman. And then the skunk ape, Bigfoot, Bloody Mary. Ooh, that's creepy. The killer in the back seat. I don't know about you guys, but I grew up with this story as a kid. Alligators in the sewer. This one's actually proven to be real. The Teke. Now, this is a Japanese urban legend, and we'll get into a little bit of that. We'll describe what that is. The Madam Koi Koi, and this is a Nigerian urban legend. And then number 11, the bonus one will actually be the Vanishing Hitchhiker. So we'll talk about all this in just a second. So let's start at the top here. So what I did was I asked ChatGPT to give me 11 different urban legends that it thought were the most popular. So we'll see if you guys agree. If you're listening to this and you've seen this cryptid creature or you've experienced this for yourself, comment down below, okay? Also, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and give us a thumbs up. It really helps our channel grow, and we are growing like quite a bit right now, and we're trying to really get up to like 100,000 subscribers. So if everyone helps us out, just give us a like, a thumbs up, and just leave a comment down below. Tell us what you like, what you don't like, what you want to hear about, what you don't want to hear about. And just please be polite down below. Do remember that we do have a younger audience that also listens, so please be respectful. Understand that I will not be going into too much detail about these things, especially with some of these, just because I don't want some little kid to be freaked out about this. Okay, all right. Remember, these are all urban legends. Nothing's proven to be fact. I don't know if you guys grew up with these. But most of them I did. So, all right, let's talk about Mothman. What is Mothman? So the Mothman allegedly appeared around November 1966 to 1967 near Point Pleasant, West Virginia, and it was described as a large winged creature with glowing red eyes. Some versions of the legend tie the sighting to the collapse of the Silver Bridge, which killed 46 people in December 1967. The tales become a staple of American folklore, perfect for a spooky Halloween segment. All right, so we've talked about Mothman before, and Mothman has not just appeared once. It's not just a once and done. It's actually appeared multiple times around the world, and usually Mothman will appear when there's actually something catastrophic about to happen. I actually might give you the 12th one, actually, too, because we'll talk about this, too. There's a black cat with green eyes, or maybe it's red eyes. Maybe, if you correct me down below, guys, please put it in the comments down below. Which color of the eyes are. It appears in the White House right before something terrible happens. It happened I believe it happened before World War I, and usually it happens when the president's down below, I think in the walkway down below the White House. And usually when they see this ghost cat, it disappears. So we'll talk about that in just a minute. But okay, so let's talk about Mothman. Mothman, as I've speculated before, I kind of believe that Mothman could possibly be some kind of angel. Everybody basically thinks death is some kind of creature or cryptid that comes down right before you die. But what if Mothman is actually an angel? What if Mothman is one of God's angels that basically helps people pass from our world into the next world, if you believe in that? Now, again, remember, take all this with a grain of salt. I know there's people out there that don't believe in this stuff that listen and view our channel. So, again, just, you're welcome to voice your opinion down below. Please be respectful. So Mothman has appeared, like I said, in many times in different countries actually where there's been a lot of damage. I know it's appeared in Chicago. It also happens. I talked to somebody the other day that said they saw it in a forest, and then they had a car crash where I think he said the passenger passed away. That was on social media. A lot of people communicate with us through social media and tell us their stories. And again, you guys are welcome to reach out to our social medias. They're all down below. And contact us through Facebook, Twitter, through here, YouTube, or on our podcast. Have you encountered Mothman? Have you ever seen it? And have you ever been in a situation where Mothman has come and then you've had something catastrophic in your life happened? So yeah, he's basically Mothman is the bringer of catastrophic events. Usually, when Mothman is seen, bad things usually happen. I guess I think there was ones associated with an earthquake, but the most famous one was this Pleasant, West Virginia, uh, where this creature kept appearing to people and trying to warn them that something was coming. And then the day of this bridge collapse, something winged like Mothman like creature was actually seen on top of the bridge and flew away as the bridge collapsed. So pretty interesting. Again, I know there's a lot of people that really follow Mothman. I know a lot of people have commented on here and on our socials about Mothman. I'm very interested in it. One of these days, we'll do a much deeper dive into Mothman. We'll actually take a full look into all the sightings of Mothman, including what people have divulged to us. So we'll get into that again. El Chupacabra! Yeah. There's many renditions of El Chupacabra. So this basically El Chupacabra, if you don't know what El Chupacabra is said to be, they call it a goat sucker. That's basically the name of it, a blood sucker. Back in Puerto Rico in the 1990s, the El Chupacabra is said to attack livestock and drain their blood. Descriptions vary. Some say reptilian with spines, others say canine hairless hound. Here in Texas, people say they see them all the time. There is a lady who owns a ranch somewhere out here that actually shot and killed one and got it stuffed. And the body basically, it just looks like a dog with mangy hair, essentially, with a skin issue. But they actually took blood samples from it and tissue samples, and it's a cross between a wolf and a coyote, believe it or not. But they look a little different. Other variations are of an alien-like creature that basically has fangs like a vampire and sucks the blood out of them. Anywhere from 3 to 6 feet tall, reptilian-looking thing that essentially will go through and mainly it started with goats, but it'll basically suck the blood out of any animal. A lot of the times they find them with chickens too, sometimes dogs, and other animals, livestock. I don't think it has anything to do with the cattle mutilations or anything like that. But it started back in Puerto Rico, and it's kind of moved its way up through Mexico and then into Texas. And I don't think it happens too many other places. If it happens where you are, comment down below. Let us know where you're at and what encounters you've had with El Chupacabra. Okay. So the Goatman, and also including the Pope Lick Monster. So the Goatman is said to be a half goat, half man creature haunting the woods in Maryland and other places. The Pope Lick Monster is a version of this legend in Louisville, Kentucky. It's a hybrid creature beneath a railroad trestle over Pope Lick Creek, luring people to death by train. So essentially, it's like screaming and calling for people, and maybe screaming for help, and essentially calling them to their death, so that they get hit by the train. Crazy. All right, so let's see. Yeah, so I've actually heard something like this before. There's an urban legend was a hunter I was listening to, and this guy was a military sharpshooter, very good shot. He was out hunting. I think he was hunting deer, and he was out in an area um, where there basically was trees like in a circle around him, and the area in the middle was all grass, and he was waiting for. He was positioned on one side of the valley, and he was down on his belly listening, waiting for anything. And he spent all day. He moved multiple times. I guess he started in a tree stand, and he left his bag, and he went around the other side of the valley because he hadn't seen any deer at all in an area where he had seen a lot of deer, right? So out of nowhere, he starts hearing this screams for help. Help, help. It's a female voice screaming out for help. And so he's looking around going, okay, he's in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the forest. Why would there be a woman out there screaming for bloody murder for help, right? So he starts looking around, and he figures out where the sound's coming from, and he takes his scope, and he's a hunter. He's has a really expensive gun and a really good scope. So he's actually sees this thing, and it looks just like a Goatman, supposedly. And it's sitting there screaming for help and mimicking a woman's voice, just basically calling for help. And so he watched this thing go over to where he was, sniffed around the tree where he was, and he watched it for a good half an hour or whatever. And it was basically looking for him. And so he eluded it, and then finally was able to go over and get its stuff, and he left. He never went back into that canyon again. But is a goat man literally trying to, call people their dooms? I don't know. Is the goat man some kind of demon? Who knows? It's an urban legend. Have you ever experienced goat man? Have you ever seen anything like that? Let us know down in the comments below. Okay, so let's move on. The skunk ape. Okay, so another version of Bigfoot. This is the skunk that says the skunk ape is Florida's answer to Bigfoot. A large, hairy, foul-smelling inhabitant of the swamps and wetlands, often described as orangutan-like or large, blackish, bearish, rummaging through trash. All right, so skunk apes aren't as big, but they're much wider. They're much broader than a possible Bigfoot. These guys are between 6 and 8 feet tall usually. They've got a Bigfoot-like look, and somebody actually did take a picture of one time and send it to a police station anonymously. If you want to go look up that picture online, I've seen it. Nobody really knows if it's a hoax or if it's real, but it is pretty conclusive. Other times, people have actually filmed skunk apes walking through open fields. I've been to Florida recently. Unfortunately, we weren't able to do any Bigfoot research, but as we were driving through Florida, I was surprised how forested Florida is. Excuse me. And as we were basically driving through, I was like, damn, this is a really good area for Bigfoot to be in. I can understand why they'd be here. So, yeah, I mean, I definitely think it would be possible for a large primate to be hiding out there. I mean, it's sparsely populated. There's Florida and other places. What people don't realize about Bigfoot, we'll get into Bigfoot in just a minute, but about skunk ape is they have a lot of area to roam. Those swamps, if they can live in those swamps and they can move around, they can be, hiding out there easily without anybody knowing them. They have food, they have water, they have places to hide, they have shelter, they have all that stuff. And then, of course, they get curious and come in and check out what we're doing, looking for food or whatever. Maybe they follow a food source into an area, and maybe there's homes there, and maybe they get spotted. But yeah, I mean, they've been seen walking through fields many times by many witnesses, and sometimes people have been lucky enough to get them on video. Usually they're so far away, though, they're so small, via camera, you have to focus, you have to really zoom in on them, and they're hard to see. But anyways, what's your take on skunk ape? Do you think it's real? Comment down below. Bigfoot. Okay, I know. For me, I'm a knower. Okay, because I've had so many encounters with Bigfoot. It says one of the most enduring legends, a large bipedal hairy hominid said to roam the forests of North America, especially Pacific Northwest. If you're in deep woods, if you're in your deep wood, blah blah blah. Okay, never mind. It's telling me about something about my podcast. Anyways, so Bigfoot basically lives in most of the forest in the United States. You can go into most forests, not like little tiny forests, but the bigger forests, and sometimes they do migrate through smaller areas of forest too. Um, if there's a forested area and you can find pins, basically find reports in and around that area, there's a good chance you could have an encounter with Bigfoot. We've been researching Bigfoot for about 16, 17 years now, and we've had a lot of encounters with them. We've been lucky enough to have places where they have family groups and they don't really migrate all that much. And so we've been able to be in their area and have multiple encounters with them. I mean, daytime, nighttime sightings, seeing them stand at the edge of the forest and basically back off. I guess that you could call this folklore. Bigfoot is actually probably one of the most seen of all these cryptids that I'm talking about right now. So, yeah, definitely. Bigfoot is definitely a good folklore for Halloween. I wish Bigfoot was represented more with Halloween, but it's not. You get the ghosts and the ghouls and all that stuff, but you don't get Bigfoot as much into this mix. But yeah, I mean, Bigfoots are out there. I mean, you just have to know where to look, and you have to do research and really get lucky, really, if you're going to find them. So, all right. And if you guys want more information about Bigfoot, I do tons of different podcasts on Bigfoot. I usually do Bigfoot podcasts at least once a week. So again, if you guys want to know more about Bigfoot, you have a question for me, you want to tell your story, anything, like I said, you can basically message us, you can text us, you can go through and use social media to contact us, or you can leave a comment down below. Whatever works for you guys. Okay, so here's a creepy one for Halloween. Bloody Mary. Now, I don't know about you guys. I'm a little older, but I definitely, unfortunately, partook in the Bloody Mary ceremony, right? You go into you're at a slumber party, you're sleeping over at a friend's house, and you get telling ghost stories later at night, and then you get the dare. Oh, you need to go into the bathroom, turn the light off, and say Bloody Mary 3 times into the mirror, and then turn the lights on, and she'll be sitting there watching you. So here, let me read this for you. I'm sorry, I've got a cat walking through here. Excuse me, sir. You mind? Mr. Binks. Okay, so the legend says that if you chant Bloody Mary or a variation into the mirror in a dark room, often a bathroom, a ghost or a witch will appear. So the origins are murky, but a link to mirror ritual, anxieties, and adolescence in mirror superstition. So basically, they're just saying it's a myth, but essentially it goes way back to the castle date ages. I guess they used to play this game way back in the 1800s or earlier. For the story I hear about Bloody Mary is when she was beheaded back in the day, back in the early castle age days. So now she basically comes back. If you go in there, and again, please be careful doing this. I don't want anybody getting hurt, and I do not recommend you do this. This is not something I would recommend anybody go and do, especially now with adult supervision. And even if you're an adult, I would still not recommend you do this because of everything going on right now with the paranormal and how crazy the paranormal is. I've never seen it this strong ever. It's like the two worlds are merging together into one. The paranormal is more involved with us than it's ever been basically in my experience. I've never seen this before. So please, please, please take caution. Please don't do this. But if you have to, you have to. Go ahead and play Bloody Mary if you want to, but I warn you, please don't. So that said, I'm just full disclosure. I don't recommend you do this. So if you go into the bathroom, turn the lights out. We used to have to spin. We would spin around 3 times. I don't know if you guys ever did this as a kid. And I'm talking to the older group on this podcast who's listening. And then you turn the lights off and you say the word Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary. Turn the lights back on. She'll be standing there in the mirror. And sometimes she'll even reach out to you. And one of my friends actually got scratched. I wasn't in the bathroom with him this night, but he got scratched. He came out with scratches. So, are you summoning something? I don't know. How real is this? I don't know. I think it could possibly, at this point, materialize in some way, whether it's you just mentally causing any injury that you have, or just anxiety and panic. So again, I would not recommend playing Bloody Mary, but up to you guys. Okay, here's another one that I grew up with, and my dad used to tell this around the campfire story. He used to tell the story of the hook, right? All right, so the killer in the back seat. So an urban classic. A woman driving home alone at night is being followed by a car who's driving really close behind her and keeps flashing the brights up and on and off every few seconds. But she doesn't realize that the person behind her is actually trying to warn her, because there's actually somebody in her back seat who's looking to do her harm. And I'm not going to get into this too much. This first documented by Folklore's Carlo Drake in the late 1960s. So I was told this story, and I think it's basically just, it could be real. I mean, you watch movies all the time where something like this happens, but basically they wait for the car to stop before they do anything. In this legend, you're driving home, and this lady's driving home, and she's tired. She's been working all day, and all she wants to do is get home. And so she's having a hard time. She's got her own brights on, and all of a sudden behind her, out of nowhere, these bright lights come on into her eyes, and she's like, what? No, why are you doing that? And what she doesn't realize is that there's somebody in the seat behind her, and he's got a knife, and he's looking to, do something terrible to her. And so every few seconds, as she's trying to get away from this car, thinking the person behind her is trying to do her harm, not the person in the back seat. She doesn't know the person's in the back seat. The lights keep going on, and this person keeps having to duck down and not do what he wants to do, right? So the story goes, she finally pulls over and confronts this person. And as she does, the guy gets out of the back seat with a knife and runs. And I guess the police never caught this person. But it's just a creepy story. I wish I could tell it better. But anyways, okay. Let's move on to alligators in the sewers. So I've heard stories about this forever. I've heard alligators in this sewers in New York. It says tourists buy baby alligators in Florida, flush them down the toilet so they grow up big and they survive in the sewers. Well, full-grown alligators surviving underground is improbable. Isolated cases of reptiles and storm drains do exist. Now, I live in Texas, and I would have never known how many damn alligators and crocodiles are in each waterway. To think that a crocodile or an alligator could be in the sewer is not far-fetched here, to be honest with you. I know here, Florida, I don't know about New York, but in Florida, and in of course Texas and other like Louisiana and other states like that, the storm drains are usually pretty full because we get a lot of rain. There's just enough water to get runoff, and actually fish are down in there sometimes too. We see fish down in the runoff as well. We don't actually have storm drains on our street. It actually runs off into the river behind the house. Now that's not sewage water, that's just regular water. But I'm guessing if we had sewers here and you pop the lids off the sewers and actually climb down in there, you could possibly find some kind of strange creatures down there. I would not be surprised to find a Chupacabra down there waiting for you, or some kind of other crazy monster down there. But it definitely is possible. I don't know if you guys grew up with the legends of their alligators in the sewers, but they have found them in New York City, from supposedly. I watched a special where they actually did, and they also hunt the rats. The rats get ginormous down in the sewers, believe it or not. They get the size of cats and dogs, and so there is a food source for them down there. I mean, they can live off of that, and stay nice and warm. Anyways, all right. So let's talk about this one, the Teke. Now, I've never heard of this one, so this is a new one on me, but it's a Japanese urban legend, a vengeful schoolgirl ghost whose lower body was severed by a train, crawls on her elbows, making a tiki sound, and slices her victim in half. Now, again, in Japan, ghosts are very widely accepted. They are something that people believe in. People see ghosts over all the time. It's the belief level is like 90% or higher for ghosts over there. So it's not surprising for some kind of urban legend like this or folklore to be true. So if you're ever going over to Japan and you have to go into the bathroom, or you're at a train station late at night and you hear something crawling on its elbows, you better take care, because the tiki might get you. All right, let's keep going. All right, so Madam Koi. Okay. This one's from Nigeria and Ghana. A ghost teacher who wears red heels, the koi sound, and haunts schools, school dormitories, and bathrooms at night. Students hear clicking heels, feel a presence, and then get attacked or vanish. Ooh, okay. So if you're in Nigeria or Ghana, you better be careful about sending your kids to school there, because they'll have to be aware of the Madam Koi. I wonder if she just goes after the kids that are a nuisance, or if it's just any kid. Makes me wonder. So we'll have to dig into these later. These are just kind of a preview of what these are. I didn't really go into super duper heavy duty depth on these guys. So you guys are welcome to go search it out. And again, if you've had an experience with something like this, let me know. And just be, in the comments down below, or tell me what you've experienced. All right. So number 11, the bonus, the Vanishing Hitchhiker. Now this one, you got to be careful. This one I know could be probably real. And I know that even though we've never seen anything, we've caught EVPs in the car sometimes. One time I was coming home and somebody goes, "Oh yeah, leave your audio recorder on all the way home." Oh, bad idea. Because I caught something laughing at me when I was driving home, and I thank God I cleared myself. So the Vanishing Hitchhiker is the reason I always tell people, whenever you go to a location that's haunted, or if you feel like something's with you, you're leaving a cemetery, you're leaving a haunted hotel, you're leaving wherever, and you just feel like something's with you, you have to say, if there's anything with me, you can't go home with me. And then again, you need to clear yourself. Get halfway home, first stoplight, first stop sign. I always tell everybody, anytime I'm giving a tour, or somebody's on a ghost hunt with us, or whatever, you have to say it again, halfway home. If there's anything with me, you can't come home with me. When you get home, if there's anybody with me, you're not welcome in my house. You need to stay out here or go back to where you came from. You're not allowed to come in with me. So, because I've had, I don't know how many times, Black Star Canyon or other locations, I've had people call me 3 or 4 hours after the tour. Well, I was a skeptic and I didn't believe you, and I didn't think it was true, and I know we had a lot of activity that night, but I just thought it was you making stuff up. And now my door is opening and closing on its own. The lights are flickering on and off. I'm hearing footsteps and all, everything else that goes with ghosts. So you just have to be so careful. Okay, so let's look at what the Vanishing Hitchhiker is about. It's a very old, widely told urban legend. A driver picks up a hitchhiker who later vanishes, obviously leaving an item behind. or the driver finds out the hitchhiker was a ghost. Although not referred specifically in the earlier source, it is one of the quintessential urban legends and folklores. So ghosts do travel. I mean, they will move around with you. I think they do. I think a lot of hitchhiker ghosts hitchhike. Excuse me. Let me try that again. I think a lot of ghosts hitchhike. I think they love to move from one place to another. Usually, it happens with an intelligent hunt. They might find something interesting, and they might just be bored where they're at. Black Star Canyon. I would go up there, and we'd have a lot of activity for a long period of time, 6 months or whatever, and then I go up there, and it'd just be like it was just empty. And a lot of the spirits that we were communicating with before, the little kid that wasn't a little kid, and some of the female spirits that we used to communicate with, and some other spirits, all just disappeared and vanished or went quiet. I'm like, what is going on? We had no activity for 3 or 4 months, and then we had all new ghosts. And I'm like, what is up with that? What happened here? So my thinking was they hitchhiked home with people, and then we started getting cases where people were calling us out to come. We saw that you went to Black Star Canyon, blah blah blah, and now we have activity in your house, and we went up there too, and they just don't know. I do think it's very possible for a ghost to get in with you and hitchhike. In this case, and this takes a lot of energy for a spirit to show itself and manifest to look just like us at this point. They have to have a lot of energy. So for them to be able to manifest like that, usually it happens on a specific night. Maybe it's the night that they had an accident. Maybe they perished in an accident on that road. Maybe they had something worse happen to them. Maybe it's more of like a residual type thing where it just happens no matter what. But these entities are communicating with the people that are picking them up, like having conversations, light conversations. And like I talked about in the one story where the guy gives the girl his jacket after picking her up on the road and then driving by the cemetery. And then later that next day, going back and knocking on the door of the house where she used to live and finding out she was a ghost, and then going into her cemetery, to the cemetery where she was, and finding his jacket on her headstone. Ooh, hello. I got goosebumps. Anyways, something just hissed behind me. Anyways, so sorry about the gap there. There was some kind of noise behind me, and I had to stop and look to see what it was. And I don't think it was the cats. I think it was something else. This room is very paranormally charged, and I do have entities in this room that are supposed to stay in this room. Again, we have talked about that a million times. So, anyways, guys, have you guys ever picked up a hitchhiking ghost? I'd love to hear that story. That'd be really cool. Oh, I was going to tell you about the black cat. Okay, so there's a black cat. Let me look this up real quick. Let me see if I can find the hitch. Let's see. Bear with me, I'm typing. Okay. The black cat of the White House most refers to the demon cat, a legendary ghostly black cat said to haunt the U.S. Capitol and the White House. Or the real life cat, Black Cat India, who lived in the White House during the George W. Bush administration, also is known as a black cat from the demon horror game Witch's House. And let's see. Let's look at the actual legend here. Okay. So, a ghostly black cat that has been rumored to appear before major tragedies and events in Washington, D.C. The origins of originated in the mid-1800s when cats were brought into the Capitol basement to hunt for rats. One theory is that one night, some watchmen, possibly after drinking, would invent stories of being attacked by a monstrous cat to explain their work ethic. The cat is described as appearing as a normal-sized cat before becoming monstrous in size when provoked. So the real-life Bush family cat, India, was the American short-haired cat who lived in the White House from 2001 until her death in 2009. While she was overshadowed by the family's two Scottish Terriers, Barley and Miss Beazle, she was still part of the White House and Haunted House and appeared in Barney Cat videos. Okay. So let's find something else here. Let's see. This is a good one. Demon Cat. Okay. Let me read this to you. Oh, of course, an ad will pop up. All right. So the Demon Cat apparition is one of the best known ghost stories in Washington, D.C. It refers to an oversized, menacing cat that appears sporadically and is predominantly federal government buildings. According to the legend, the Demon Cat conspires to frighten unsuspecting people. Other times, the Demon Cat's appearance has been considered a prophecy of impending disaster or tragedy. The Demon Cat is also known simply as DC. According to a 1898 article in the Washington Post, Demon Cat appears as a regular-sized house cat initially, but then quickly expands to the size of an elephant before the eyes of a terrifying observer. The first recorded appearance of the Demon Cat was in the United States Capitol in 1862 during the Civil War. The U.S. Capitol basement was used as a bakery for defeat soldiers, and the Demon Cat appeared there several times. A guard reportedly fired a gun at the cat as it disappeared. Since its initial manifestation, the Demon Cat frequently shows up in the basement of the Capitol building. It is sometimes described as a tabby, although others have claimed to see it be black. Okay. So in 1935, accounts published in the White House Post, one observer remarked that Demon Cat's eyes glow with all the hue and furiosity of headlights of a fire engine. The article also hints at a practical explanation for the Demon Cat. Many cats ran freely in the basement passageways of the U.S. Capitol for decades, serving as cost-free, efficient exterminators of mice and vermin. For Congressman John Diggles lends support to this detail, as he recalls hunting rats that were as big as house cats in the basement of the Capitol building during World War II. Says most ghost stories, there are numerous variations of Demon Cat stories. One of the most unique aspects of the Demon Cat legend is that the feline ghost appears at more than one location. The myth extends to the Capitol building and the White House. When the Demon Cat appears on the ground of the floor of the White House, considered previously as the basement, the apparition foreshadows a terrible event. As the tale goes, a White House guard witnesses the Demon Cat just before the stock market crash of 1929. Allegedly, another White House watchman spotted the Demon Cat prior to John F. Kennedy's assassination in 1963. Although the Demon Cat's appearance at the White House cannot be confirmed as first-hand source, the feline apparently is occasionally listed as one of the most famous ghosts of the executive's mansion. And it goes on and on and on. Okay, so, yeah, I mean, that's pretty cool. Now, have you ever worked at the White House? Have you ever experienced the Demon Cat yourself? I would love to hear about that. I would love to know more about it. What stories have you heard about the Demon Cat? Is it real? Is it fake? Is it just something people are making up? What folklore? Is it just folklore? That's for you guys to decide. We'll let you guys make up your mind on that. Anyways, guys, this is getting a little bit long. I appreciate you guys listening, and we will catch you guys on the next one.